years and years ago, when I used to buy my wife presents, no, just kidding, I still do, but I was going to buy my wife a watch. It was one of those watches where the, the moon comes up and goes back down again. They're very trendy in the 80s. And I remember seeing one in the window of H. Samuel's that was perfect. And it was £50. And I remember thinking, the watch is perfect, but yeah, can I afford £50 on a present for my wife? I'm not sure. So I thought, I'll go in and negotiate. So I sort of went in, I said, there's a watch in the window, and I went back out, had to point through the glass, and they finally found the watch, and they laid it on the counter and said, oh, it's a lovely watch, isn't it, sir? And it was nice. And I said to her, yeah, I like it, yeah, nice. The only thing is, it's a little bit expensive, it's a bit more than I was planning to spend. And the shop assistant said, well, why did you get me to get it out the window then? And I was saying, well, because I was hoping you could reduce it. And she said, well, but that's the price. And I said, I know, but can you do it any cheaper? And she said, well, we've got cheaper ones. And I said, well, the trouble is, that's the one I like. But, can't you reduce it a bit for me? And she went, well, I can't. I'd have to get the manager. I'll have to see what Mr. Biggins says. So I said, OK, well, yeah, go and ask Mr. Biggins then. So she went off to the back of the shop and she walked away and knocked on the door of Mr. Biggins and went in. And I could see they had these sort of Venetian blinds. And I could see her having this conversation with Mr. Biggins. And she said, there's this guy, and he was going, which one is it? And they were looking at me. They were going, oh, him. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. And they were looking at me like that. Now, how would you feel at that point when they're looking at you through the Venetian blind? And most people's reaction, when I mention this on training courses, is, oh, it would be so embarrassing. I'd want the earth to open up and swallow me up. But no, don't think that. Just think it's a game. It's just a game. Let's see what happens. Let's see how good Mr. Biggins is. So, sure enough, out he came from his office. So, what seems to be the problem then? And I said, well, I like the watch, can't quite afford it, hoping you could reduce it a bit. And he said, oh, let me see, £50. I could probably do it for 45. And I said, oh, I don't know, it's still a bit much. Can you reduce it any more than that? And he got his calculator out. He was going, I could do it for 42. Now, I probably should have said 40 and you've got a deal, but I didn't. I just said, oh, OK then. So I bought it for 42. I got £8 off. Now, you may say, was it worth all the humiliation to get £8 off a watch? But I would say, yes, definitely. Because firstly, I don't think it is humiliation. I think it's a bit of fun. It's just a game. Secondly, I won. I got £8 off. And whatever I get off, even if it's a small amount, it still feels good. I got £8. That's £8 I've got for something else. Nice flowers to go with the watch, or possibly a Led Zepp CD. I think that's what I spent it on, actually. But it's still £8. But the other reason is it's practice, because that was a watch coming down from 50 to 42. Next time, it might be a house, and it might come down from 500 grand to 420 grand. It's the same process. So always be practicing. Why not? But the reason I wanted to tell you that story really was to say it's all about your state of mind. Think of it as a game. Even when he's looking at you like that, it doesn't matter. It's just a game. And I do have people sometimes who say, oh yeah, at work I'm a real devil because that's my job. But at home I can't negotiate because, it's personal then, isn't it? I don't want to look cheap. But I'm thinking, hang on, at home it's your own money. You should definitely negotiate. And similarly, I get people who say, oh yeah, at home I'm really tough, it's my own money. But at work, it's not my money, I don't really care. But hang on, at work, we're talking big amounts of money. And it's your job anyway, so it's not as if it's personal, it's just a job at work. So surely if you can do it in your personal life, you can do it at home. And if you can do it at home, you can do it in your personal life. Do it in both, and treat it as a game in both cases.